Hi everyone, I'm Coach Nicole and I welcome you to Volleyball All-Stars Academy where youths can learn and progress to be the best. Here in my academy, as my students learn to train, they're able to build on their fundamental skills in volleyball as they proceed to develop physical literacy. I ensure that as my students are enhancing their skills and as I prepare them for a complex 6-on-6 game when they get older, they will also have fun and establish friendships throughout my program. By this means, they are able to understand the importance of building social skills as they open the opportunities to significant traits like teamwork. And at the same time, I also care about their psychological and emotional development. Therefore, I try to introduce them to specific tools that will assist them in their performance like self-talk and imagery. Moving on, when it comes to playing volleyball, it is important to apply fundamental movement skills to sport skills. For example, some of the basic skills that my students are to learn in volleyball are passing, serving, and setting, which requires a lot of balance and hand-eye coordination. Therefore, I want to make sure that students know how to transfer their skills in volleyball. In this process, I will be there to guide them in every step of the way. Of course, errors are expected and are fine. It might sound cliche, but we do all learn from our mistakes, and that's what I want to prove to these kids. I don't want them to be afraid of errors, but instead I want them to know it's okay to miss a pass or not be able to serve over the net. Simply giving advice on how to execute this better, like adding a full swing or another step, assists student in avoiding loss of confidence. So, in the learn to train stage of long-term development, my students will go through a cognitive stage, which is known as the beginning. This is when they will be identifying and understanding the skills that I will be teaching them. Since at this stage, many are dependent on visual input, I'd like to demonstrate simple drills like down ball hitting drill, toss-up setting drill, and wall hitting drill to assist them in more complex skills as they practice these. Like I said, since they are still learning, errors are to happen along the way and movements will not be fluent, but they will be having all my attention at all times for assistance and as well as feedback. I believe knowledge of performance builds on knowledge of results because feedback on the performance leads to having better outcome. At the same time, I try to make sure my students know how significant selective attention is. It does not only benefit the performance as it proves how well one can selectively focus on one thing with conflicting stimuli, but it can also assist an individual to be in the zone. How? Because it will help them to be in complete concentration on the task and have lack of self-consciousness. And when we look at Piaget's model of cognitive development, kids from 7 to 11 years old experiences a concrete operational stage where they are ordering and classifying based on what they see and developing empathy. This benefits them in a way that they are able to classify their errors, assisting them in knowing the changes that they should make. As they develop empathy, they are able to consider their teammates' feelings, which improves teamwork as well. Right here, we have our modifications that are present in my program. These are adjustments that I have made to make sure my students wouldn't feel constrained as they learn volleyball. So first and foremost, for the rules, I have decided that stepping on the line when serving will be acceptable as it is the most common error when learning volleyball. Touching the net while still in play will also be allowed, and as well as having more than 6 players on each side. This makes it easier to return the ball and have a productive game. There will also be a maximum number of 5 hits instead of 3 before returning the ball over the net. At the same time, there will also be more serve chances to really enhance every player's form. And on the other hand, for equipment, I have decided to make the ball soft and lightweight to avoid the feeling of being afraid when hitting the ball, and I've also made it oversized, which makes it easier to teach volleyball techniques and have immediate success. I think lowering the nets will also benefit my students as they have not fully reached their maximum potential in regards to their height. Therefore, lowered nets will make volleyball techniques easier to perform, like blocking. And last but not the least, for boundaries, I have also decided to make smaller courts, which allows the ball to stay in play for longer periods of time. And this will make games more entertaining. Also, stepping over the center line will be acceptable in certain situations like accidentally stepping over after the attempt to block the ball. On this slide, I have included some of the factors that influence social and emotional development. First is the ability for an individual to communicate and have good relationships with their family and friends. Values, beliefs, morals, customs, and traditions are also factors that affect one's social development because they reflect how one chooses to live their life. Hormonal changes also play a big part as they control how we act and think every day. And on the other hand, social and emotional behavior may be influenced due to genes one has that are passed on from their parents, which is you guys. This causes certain traits to be picked up from parents. And training and competition may affect one's emotional development, which differs depending on the individual as well. With the use of psychological skills training, most athletes are able to stabilize their emotions using a variety of ways, like self-talk, imagery, relaxation, improving motivation, and coping skills. Moreover, training, recovery, and competition are significant factors in long-term development. They each have specific roles that assist athletes in their success. When it comes to training, I have drills that I mentioned earlier for my students to enhance their performance. They will be constantly practicing these drills, but in shorter periods of spread out practice to allow more long-term learning than long periods of mass practice. Eventually, I will make these practices a little bit difficult because I want to test their abilities and sharpen their skills. And when it comes to recovery, I make sure my students are well rested before training or competition. This is because resting and recovering allows the body time to repair and strengthen itself. And at the same time, it can be beneficial psychologically. Without proper recovery, it may lead to burnout, which is something I want to avoid. I also take importance in getting quality of sleep. 7 to 10 hours of sleep is a must because during sleep, our body produces hormones that are responsible for tissue growth and repair. Not to mention, it allows mental recovery as well. Therefore, quality sleep equals boost in performance and overall mood. Cooling down after an intense practice or game is also significant in short-term recovery, which includes low-intensity exercises assisting in regulating blood flow. After proper recovery, my students will go through competition, which benefits them in motor learning as it builds higher standards of achievement, influencing athletes in refining their skills. It also builds teamwork and discipline and develops physical literacy. All in all, as my students learn volleyball, I want to make sure their physical, mental, and psychological health are taken care of, which is why I take into consideration everything I introduce and teach them so that it would be appropriate for their developmental age while still allowing them to have fun while they're in my program. So come and join us now at Volleyball All Stars Academy and sign up using our website or contact us for more information.